the story goes. So we keep on fighting till we can't fight no more. We keep on searching for that heart of gold. Can you tell me which way is up when your right is wrong?
I keep my eyes on the prize, reading between the lines, knowing that they're trying to keep me deaf, dumb, and blind, and hypnotized in the blind. It's all by design, but I refuse to be defined. I live a life that's on the flip side, violent vibe, dope rhymes like a kick to your ass to straighten your spine. Debating the times, the nations decline, trying to find a reason to live. It's better than the reasons to die. It's freezing outside, but life is a cycle, so while you wait till the sun melt the ice, I'ma go and escape. And it don't matter what you do, know that they gon' hate. If that's the case, well then I might as well be great. It's tight rope and no net, no regrets. I have steps, and you the only person alive. You got to respect, it ain't no point in wondering why we returning to death. Just find the value in your next breath. We all know how it goes.
We all know how the story goes. So we keep on fighting till we can't fight no more. We keep on searching for that heart of gold. Can you tell me which way is up when your right is wrong?
Got some brothers from some other mothers. We learning lessons together, like how to survive in inclement weather. And when it's sunny, then we surfing. When it's snowing, we ski. But we don't ever stop achieving, long as our heart beat. For certain, we searching and dangerous lurking. But ain't no way that I'ma go away without the gold. I know I'm deserving. The greatest leader is a follower, as well as a servant. Whether she teaching or policing, or he preaching a sermon. And all them wolves is in the bushes, cause they scared to death. They got them big sharp teeth, but that don't mean shit. I rise up, climb up, rise up to the next. I transcend bullshit, no question I'm blessed. It's far from discussion, the subjects I'm busting is full of substance. You can learn something from it, whether you're wealthy or suffering. Healthy, determined, or broken in pieces, paraplegic. We all living in the same year, just different seasons.
The story goes. So we keep on fighting till we can't fight no more. Sir. We keep on searching for that heart of gold. Can you tell me which way is up when you're right is wrong? I know you know love must find a way. I know you know love is the only way.
Yo,
What's up, man?
you hear me?
I can hear you, dude. What's going on?
Sitting here at my new location for streaming. I got my downstairs working, so got my
Nice.
microphone. Feel like I'm
Nice.
How you doing, man? How you doing with this crazy? I haven't talked to you since this craziness. So this is our
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't quite, I wish I had something prepared to say about this, but I don't spend a lot of time watching the news.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time watching the news because, I prefer to control. What you consume kind of becomes your state, and your state becomes your actions. And the news is just constantly feeding you emergency after emergency. They want you to care about everything. And human beings aren't meant to care about everything. We're walking around in bodies that, are suited for like 100,000 years ago. You know, we're not meant to, process 50 different tragedies in one day. Our brains aren't meant for that. So you end up like getting depressed and going in a bunch of different directions and wasting energy, and you can't focus, and then you gotta, substitute to try to focus, and you smoking more, you drinking more, you feeling anxious and angry and all kinds of stuff just based on what you consuming.
Yep.
So it's like I try to remain aware of, what my brain is built for, and just the demands that are out there as far as social media and news, and how our attention can get diverted to so many different things. So I don't watch the news a lot, but I was forced to watch it this week. Every now and then you kind of get forced to watch it. For one, we have a band, and we speak to we speak to millions of people. So every now and then I have to check in, and I got to see what our people, what our friends are on. See what they're consuming, see what's important to them, see what's been dangled in front of their faces, and which which of their buttons are being pushed, what's important to them, so I could share that with them, and then create something to hopefully help get us both through it. So I had to watch the news this week and see that ridiculous ass shit, that ridiculous ass bullshit, man. Dude, I don't understand how, like, these motherfuckers face less resistance than Martin Luther King did with a bunch of church people. Martin Luther King and a bunch of church people with church suits on were marching. And they had dogs and water hoses and all kinds of crazy shit to fight through. Martin Luther King faced more resistance than these fools that marched on the nation's capital. And look, man, people say they marched on the Capitol building. They ran up in the Capitol building. Okay, what does that really mean? Okay, this is what it means. There's a separation of powers. There's the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. There's a president, there's Congress, and there's the Supreme Court. Congress makes the laws. The president, the executive branch, enforces the laws. The judicial branch decides the laws. Right? Congress, 100 senators, about 435 members of the House of Representatives, about 535 people. Congress, they make the laws. They're the ones that are like directly elected by the people. Like, the people don't directly elect the justices of the Supreme Court. The people don't, in some ways, don't directly elect the president. It's kind of like the electoral college, even though there's the math with the states and the popular vote and all that stuff. The people directly elect the Congress. 535 members of Congress. These people breached the Capitol building, where those officials that the people directly elect, where they do their business, they were guarded by like 8 cops with pistols. It was like 8 cops with pistols guarding the Congress of the most powerful country that ever existed in the history of human beings. But some little 15-year-old black girl is getting smacked upside the head with a fucking cop's stick, at some Black Lives Matter march. Black church people getting dogs sicked on them and shit, and water hoses and shit. The Congress, the people that create the laws of the land, that are directly elected by the people, were guarded by like 7 or 8 cops with pistols.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, dog. That's bullshit. And I've tried, me, man. It's like I try to stay objective. I try to hear all sides. Like, I've done my part. I put my money where my mouth was. I went into law enforcement. I paid my way through the academy because I was tired of talking shit about the police. I paid my way in. Gave a speech at the graduation. worked as a cop for 8 years and put my life on the line, put my money where my mouth was, made enemies in there and a few friends. So it's like I've done what I was supposed to do. And I try to remain objective. And I know that, hell yeah, the racism is off the hook in this country. You don't have to tell me I got a degree in Black studies. I grew up studying this shit. I grew up living this shit. But when you see some shit like this, like if you, when you see some shit like this, dog, when you see tanks in the middle of the street in Ferguson, and you see like all the madness that's been going on, like with these little black kids out here marching and protesting, you know, fighting for racial justice, and just the coalition has developed. It's all races out there, man. These young people, they whooping old white people's asses in the street. And that old white man got his ass knocked out.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah, knocked the fuck out, bleeding out, because he's marching for racial equality. And these hillbillies dress up with fucking Confederate flags, the biggest traitors in the history of the United States of America, tried to topple the country less than 100 years after its birth, sparked a war that killed like 640,000 Americans. These motherfuckers marching up in the Capitol building with a Confederate flag. Get the fuck out of here, man. If you can't respect where these activists are coming from after this shit, then your ass is willfully blind, and you need to check your hypocrisy. And nobody's heard me talk like this. Nobody's heard me talk like this, but it's at that point. It's at that point. You know, if the United States of America is outspending like the next 19 countries put together on military budgets, and we could effectively strike any country in the world within minutes because we have that type of military capability, but a bunch of hillbillies could penetrate the Capitol building, you know, where our elected officials are. It's basically the heart of the country with no resistance. Then something's wrong. Something's wrong.
It's been wrong, Piper.
Yeah,
It's been wrong.
It's been wrong, but I'm just saying that's like, you know, that motherfuckers need evidence, they need proof. Here it is. You know, and Flipsyde has always been, we've always been like a symbol of unity and how people could come together. Steve's from Alabama. You know, you from Chile. I'm from Oakland. My father from Brazil. My mother's from, you know, Cincinnati, man. We've been a symbol of unity and people coming together. So it's like right now, it's basically got to be the people that want to unify and the people that want to come together. And we got to maintain that, man, and push forward hard.
Yeah, dude. I could have wished this fucking phone stopped fucking texting me. You know, for me, it's to watch that shit. Obviously, I'm not surprised, right? Because it's not like it's been leading up to that, right? It's been they've been announcing this shit. This is what's gonna happen this date. This is the date, right? They've been telling motherfuckers this shit, and you know they allowed this shit to happen. And coming from a country that I lived through a coup, I lived through dictatorship. People don't understand how close we were to that. You know what I mean? It could have been really, really bad. We could have been in a position where shit could have hit the fan like crazy. And when you live in a country that's we are oppressed, you know, black and brown, and we got a lot of shit we got to fix. But they're fighting. It's like this way of fighting for a right to keep people to keep the things the way they are now and to make it worse, you know, like to be able to come and just take people's rights or whatever the fuck. Living in a dictatorship is not something that is not free, man. And so it just kind of trips me out that I've lost a lot of friends that have been following this, that have been supporting this, and they're about this, and they seem to not understand what a free country is about. They've been living in this free country to some, to them, but not to others. And it's like they want to keep it that way. You know, it's like it's okay to be this way. Like the wearing the fucking the rebel flag and all, just being that, keeping that shit alive. You know, where we live, when we went to fucking Germany, you weren't allowed to say things that because of what happened in World War II. You weren't allowed to use a flag. You were not supposed to even say the word Nazi, for instance. It was illegal, right? They squashed that shit. You know, they're like, that's it. We're done. That we can't. This is illegal, right? And now we have this motherfucker with a flag in the Capitol building. You know, that's crazy to me. That is the most craziest shit in the world. We can't. You go to Germany, they're not fucking around. This is over. The shit's done. We're never gonna go back to that. There's laws against this shit in this country because if we take the freedom thing and the First Amendment, and I understand it, I get it. I'm not saying anything against all that, but it's just, it's like we're excusing this old way of thinking, this old way of treating people, you know, and it just baffles me, man. It just trips me out. And the fact that it was a attempted coup, that if that shit would have happened, man, who knows what would have happened, man? Who knows how crazy it would have gotten? So I'm a little, you know, it's a little, you know, I personally can't stop watching the news because I'm like, what the fuck's gonna happen, right? But it consumes my feelings. You know what I mean? Consumes it. You're right, and I need to spend more time. I know I've been spending more time playing music, but it's just a trip, man. I'm just, it's such a backward thing that we have. We're okay. Our freedom of speech is the freedom to hate, and that shit's just wrong to me. To be able to have the freedom to hate people, like I have the right to hate you because of your color. You know, that shit is trips me out. You know, and I wish that wasn't. I wish that was illegal. You know, which it is, but I wish that was as serious as it is when you're in Germany. You know.
Yeah, man. Things can be illegal, but if they're not enforced, it doesn't really matter. Like black people had the right to vote in the 1870s, and they were marching for the right to vote like damn near 100 years later. So it's like if things could be legal, but if it's not enforced, it doesn't really matter. And dude, I don't like spending a lot of time. I don't like spending a lot of time on bullshit, on darkness, on ignorance, because it consumes you. It's like everything exists. Love exists, hate exists, light, dark, jealousy, all these things exist all the time, and you can't extinguish them. They're there. So our experience as human beings is dictated by, largely, not 100%, by what we choose to focus on. So I try to focus on unity. I try to focus on empowerment. I try to focus on love, strength, building, growth. I try to focus on these things. But every now and then, stuff just intrudes into your life, and it has to be dealt with. Or it intrudes into, the lives of the people that you love, or the people that listen to your music. So it has to be dealt with. Like I forgot about this stream, man. I kind of I was just writing, studying, reading, working out. I fell back into my routine. I watched the news for 2 or 3 days, but I kept my routine going. And then I forgot about this, and all kinds of things were coming up. And then it was like, wait a minute, nah, we gotta jump on this morning, because it might be some people. There might be some people out there that need to hear where we stand on this, and need to hear what we have to say. And what I have to say is, I love my brothers. I'm all about peace and prosperity and growth and health. Maybe we need to go back to the basics. Maybe we need to go back to the basics. Um, get up in the morning, Do some type of physical workout, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Walk, drink more water, eat less salt, drink less alcohol. Make sure you read in something. Think the average American reads like one book a year. And reading blurbs online is not really reading, because what you're reading is something that was constructed to give you a certain opinion. Now, a book was constructed to give you a certain opinion too, but it's long enough for you to be able to see in between the lines and see what the person's intent was that wrote it. Try to read a book a month or something. Watch documentaries. This is most important. Pay attention to things and pay attention to people that operate outside of your worldview. If you hear somebody say something that you never considered before, instead of turning away from them and shutting them out, listen to them a little longer. They might be completely insane, or they might have some important information to give you, because we are basically the sum of all of our experiences and the people that we interact with. If it's somebody walking a completely different life, that's an experience rich individual to you, because you need to, just speaking to that person, paying attention and listening to that person, you can benefit from some of his wins and losses and his experiences. You can get the benefit of living more than just one life, more than just however many years you have on this planet. Read some biographies. Listen to figure out what they did that worked and what they did that failed. So we're not just spinning our wheels. It's like we're going in these cycles. You have these, you have people, are people out there marching, getting hit in the head, dying for racial justice. And you have people on the other side saying, why don't they just pull themselves up by their own bootstraps? Okay, well, the same shit was happening in the 1870s. In the 1870s, after 200 years of slavery, you had hillbillies, just like the ones that marched on the Capitol, saying, why don't they just pull themselves up by their own bootstraps? After 200 years of slavery, 200 years of black people making this country rich, making the West rich, they said, why don't they just pull themselves up by their own bootstraps?
They're still saying that shit, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. They were saying
I
this
just
shit
heard
in
that
the
shit.
1870s.
I just heard that like a couple days ago, talking to because I like you said, I have to see. I got to see what people talk to people, and that's the kind of shit I heard. And I'm like, dude, you are tripping. Like it's like insane. Like because I feel like all those voices, all those things that you're saying, people say that it's just a repetition of someone else's grandfather, someone else's. It's like it just keeps going. It's just the same talk. It hasn't changed, and it's like, how do we stop this way of thinking? But if your
I got to be
grandparents,
honest with you. I got to be honest with you, man. I don't see it stopping anytime soon, because social media and the way that the world is moving, where you could design your life and design what you consume and create your own little universe that's an echo chamber where you have the illusion that you're communicating with the world, but in reality, you're communicating with people in the world that think like you. You're consuming information from people in the world that think like you. So it's getting worse because we think it's getting better, you know? So let's take that. Why don't they pull themselves up by their own bootstraps? Let's take that for instance. Okay. Well, uh slavery ended in 1865, roughly a period of 200 years of slavery, where it was against the law for black people to learn how to read. It was against the law. They were punished, and the white people that taught them how to read were punished. Okay. By 1868, black people had voted themselves into the majority of the South Carolina state legislature. This is 3 years after slavery ended. This is 3 years after it's been against the law for black people to read for 200 years. That's pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps like a motherfucker. By the 1870s, it's 2 black senators. There was even a black governor, PBS Pinchback. He was only in office for like a month before they threw him out. Blanche Kelso Bruce literally went from a slave to a senator. You know that there's a difference from going from Danville to fucking Columbia to Harvard Law, and now you're a senator and people celebrating you. This motherfucker was a slave, and then he became a senator. That's pulling yourselves up by your own bootstraps. Then you have the Hayes-Tilden Compromise, 1876, which is 11 years after the Civil War ended. And by then, America was like, we're done with these black people. They're taking over, in fact. They're taking up. They've been slaves for 200 years, but they're taking over. Look at them moving up and owning land and becoming senators and voting. We're done with this shit. Hayes-Tilden Compromise. They take the Union troops out the South. There were black cops guarding the black communities. They took their guns, stripped them of their badges, and then the Klan ran loose and lynched black politicians and their white allies. Like the Klan lynched, like, you know, in a period of like 70 years, they lynched like 3,600 black people, but they also lynched like 1,700 white people. They pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps and then got lynched because they made too much progress. So when you're talking to motherfuckers, just like, why don't they pull themselves up by their bootstraps? Motherfucker, read a book.
Yeah. Read
Talk
a book
to somebody
that knows shit. Exactly. And that's the thing. They don't read books. They just follow the same fucking shit that their grandparents taught them and their dad or whatever. It's like it just keeps they just repeat the same shit they've been hearing their whole lives. That's what I'm saying. There's nobody there to correct them and to, you know, and I heard that shit this week and I was disgusted. I was like, you are fucking tripping, right? Because you're watching a certain kind of news program, right? I mean, you're getting information from somebody else instead of looking for it yourself and reading a book or speak to somebody that's intelligent. You know, I wish I had be able to say to be able to express what you just said. I don't, you know, I don't, and that's why, you know, you're my brother. So when we're together, okay, you Piper, you take this one. You know what I mean? Like, well, that's what we do. We all have our we're like the Voltron team in a way. You know what I mean? If we're together, we're united. Okay, you handle that. Okay, now we got, you know what I mean? We talk about things that we know, you know, and so I'm glad I know you. That's all, you know. So yeah, I
I'm
mean,
glad I know
I
you
don't
too,
really
man.
have enough to say. I'm just very, very disappointed about it. Just the same old shit. It just repeats itself, you know, and you know, a lot of it has to do. What did they say? Some guy was senator talking about how the Roman Empire, the same shit happened to them. They had you know, how they fell. It was kind of similar to that history. It's just repeating itself. Nothing's new. We're all humans. We're all doing the same shit we've been doing. You know, so it's like, I mean, I wish I had answers. I wish I had a way to because I figured it out. I figured it out a long time ago that, you know, we're all here together and we're all brothers, man, and we're all, you know, elevate each other. We all want to elevate everybody, and that's my that's the thing. I want to elevate people and love people and bring people up, and so people that don't do that aren't my brothers. There aren't, you know, people that want to keep people down. Those are the people that I don't want nothing to do with, you know, because I don't look at anything else but, you know, if you have a desire, like the book we're talking about, desire, if you kill people's desire, you kill their whole spirit, man. So we have to keep whatever people's desire to be, whether it's, you know, education, music, anything. If they have that will, don't kill that. Keep it growing. If I can help somebody in a way to elevate them, that's what I'm here to do. That's my goal in life. And it happens to be that I have a guitar I do it with my music with my brothers, but I also do it like I was hanging out. I saw Pharaoh yesterday, and I was like, dude, I'm happy to see you here working in the studio. Like his desire, man, the will to keep pushing his music and doing his thing. I'm like, I encourage that, and I was like hugging him, and I'm like, this is my nephew, and you know, I was so happy to see that. So it's like, you know, we have to keep pushing people to be better and you know, educate people the way we have to educate them, you know, with whatever, whether it's through our music, whether it's our conversation, you know. So I don't know, man.
And look, man, let me say something. I want everybody out there to know I don't consider myself a historian. I don't consider myself an activist. I got a lot of respect for activists. Activists, in my definition, activists dedicate their lives to action, for a particular cause. They're in a sense, they're kind of sacrificing their free will beyond deciding to fight for a cause, which basically means they live in a realm of negativity to a certain extent. It's like they're jumping in, the ship that's sinking and they're shoveling water out. I don't do that. I don't dedicate my life to a particular cause. I have respect for them. I'm not a historian. I'm not, and this is why I stay quiet on a lot of this stuff. Because I mean, we got historians out there that people could tap into. This is why you don't hear me normally talking like this. I would rather the professionals do it, But if some people need to hear it from me, I'll do the best I can, and I, I'll say what little I know. I'll add that. But I'm with you. I'm about inspiration. I'm about inspiring people, inspiring greatness in people. Greatness amazes me. How human beings could tap into that stream of energy and excellence, that divine part of themselves. How some people could tap into it and explode. That's what I'm interested in. Trying to bring that forth, through what I'm writing and through music that we're making, through just conversations. Um, I will say this as a rule, and I want all our fans to take this to heart. As a rule, if you find yourself uh, extremely angry uh, or like disliking other human beings, hating other human beings, I just want you to take a step back and try to see through their eyes and try to consume some of the information that they're consuming to figure out why they are that way. Step into their position and look at yourself through their eyes, just for a fresh perspective of fresh aspects of who you are that you haven't considered before. Maybe you're the one lacking. Maybe you're the one that needs to catch up. I do this a lot. I do this a lot, and I think that should be a rule. If you find yourself full of hatred, something's wrong. We're not supposed to be full of hatred.
Mm-mm.
We're operating in the lower realms if we're full of hatred. We're cut off from our divine essence if we're full of hatred. We're not using the maximum amount of our tools and our power and our energy to get forward if we're full of hatred. So we got to figure out why. What we think controls our state, and our state controls our actions. So we got to get what we think under control. You could do that by standing guard at the gate of your mind and making sure that more good stuff is coming in than bad. Dave, that's all I got, man. Where's Steve?
Steve has COVID, so he's trying to battle his COVID right now.
He has it, or his family has it?
His family has it, and then he got it now. He's all tired and fucked up. So it's not. It's my. I don't know. Let me see. He wished he was here. He wanted to be here next week. He said, I'm right little COVID with the fam and just tired today. I'm not up for it. I'll be fine next week. Mild symptoms, but it makes us super tired. Just sleeping since yesterday. That's what he said.
Well, we love you, Steve, but the fans need to hear from you, man. You're a white dude from Alabama. The
Exactly.
people need to hear from you, brother. They need to hear your perspective on this. So get well, get better, and then put that out there in the universe.
Yeah, man.
So we
And for
could.
all the people messaging, I haven't really read anybody's stuff. We did this last minute. I've been dealing with a bunch of family stuff, trying to keep the family healthy. And I don't know. I didn't really want to. I'm like, I don't know if I want to really talk. You know, I was kind of like, when I got your text, I'm like, all right, fuck this. We need to fucking say something, you know, just to let people know that we are aware about the world and things are happening and you know, but usually I let people know in advance, but we did it last minute. And Reto is on his way to Switzerland, deal with some family. His stepdad passed away, so he's going over there. So everybody's going through a lot of shit right now, but we're still here, man. We just want to, you know, let people know that, you know, we're still here and
we love y'all, man. I felt obligated to y'all to do this because I don't normally talk about this stuff.
No, we don't. We usually just let the music do the talking. You know, we say it in the music, and I really don't want to talk about it because I get too emotional. I get too, you know, just growing up in my bullshit. It's a little hard to talk about shit like this to me. So I'm happy that you know, I have that balance with everybody, because if not, it'd be a whole different show. You know what I mean? But I'll just leave you guys with one song before we go. I mean, Imagine Peace is a perfect song for now. And yeah, just again, like I always say, love each other, man. And keep an open mind, like Piper said. Don't fill your soul with hate. You know, there's so yeah. Anything, let me see. So yeah. Sorry, I'm not very super talkative guy right now. But I will leave you guys with the fucking song. And here, I'll put this up. This is what she wrote. Jennifer Williams. That's a perfect way to end the show. Love. Heart.
Love.
All right, you guys.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Have a good weekend. Love you, Piper. Talk to you soon.
Love you too, brother. Peace.
I don't need no rain today, but if it comes, I'll be okay. Let my flame burn through the night. Yeah, we gonna be alright. Yeah. Imagine peace, imagine love. No more fear and no more war. It's the only way. Walk with me to a brighter day. Yeah.
We all need a little love. We never know it till the push come to shove. Some get it from the heavens up above. Some get it late night in the club. It don't matter where you get it if it's real. It's worth more than the dollar bills. Cause if she love you, then she stay when you broke. And if he love you, he ain't never letting go. Them little babies need love like food. Even the soldiers need a little love too. They need love in the hood, in the burg. They need love in the mosque, in the church. They need love in the being in the schools. We need love, but we all gon' lose. They make a weapon out of hate and they kill. We make the medicine from love and we heal. Yeah, we need love.
Imagine peace, imagine love. No more fear and no more war. It's the only way. Walk with me into a brighter day. Yeah. Imagine peace, imagine love. No more fear and no more war. It's the only way. Walk with me into a brighter day. Yeah. I don't need no rain today, but if it comes, I'll be okay. Let my flame burn through the night. Yeah, we gonna be alright. I don't need no rain today, but if it comes, I'll be okay. Let my flame burn through the night. Yeah, we gonna be alright.
And I was walking through the world and seen atrocities, monopolies. The prophecy is written, and all I can be is all I can see in visions. And so I'm on a mission to envision new additions. Cause I can't stand the rain and all the pain in which we living. And talking about the problem, never solved it. We throw some action on it and dissolve it. Them kids got revolvers because they think it make them stand taller. And all he wanted to be was a baller, a G and a shot caller. They didn't love him, so we lost him. It happens often, from Oakland, Compton to Boston. Them boys off them, and then the cops off the boys. While we filmed it and got mad, marched and made noise. It's a cycle, devastation equals hatred plus a rifle. It's amazing, we living life in the blindfold. Ain't no justice and no peace, but what's peace without LOVE? We need